This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, your one-stop shop for all things horrific and horror-related. Read the reviews, frolic in the forum, hem and haw over the horoscopes, and listen mightily to the Horror Movie Show with Mark and Jerry, your horrible hosts.
Hey folks, Jerry here.
And Mark.
And we're bringing you the latest episode of the Horror Movie Show from the TB ward here at, well, not quite.
The Splutz building.
Yeah, the Splut building. I'm in an oxygen tent.
Jerry's been very sick.
Just coughing and coughing.
He just can't shake it.
I can't shake it.
And plus, you know, it is summertime and we were a little bit laxed. We want to have a little summer break here.
Yeah.
I mean, give us a break. We need
a break.
Yeah, we need a little time off once in a while.
Once in a while, we need a little time off so that we can get these lung infections really happening.
Yeah. I mean, you've been going through hell.
Oh, 2.5 months of this crap. So, okay, we've got a whole bunch of relatively new movies to talk about, most of which we've both seen. We're going to start with Pacific Rim. Guillermo del Toro directed this. He's terrific. He's made a lot of good movies. Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth.
Yep, and he helped with the latest
Hobbit.
Yeah.
Co-written by del Toro and Travis Beacham. Pacific Rim stars Charlie Hunnam as Raleigh Beckett, Diego Klattenhoff as Yancey Beckett, Idris Elba, I really like him, as Stacker Pentecost. I had no idea the man's name was that when I watched the movie. Stacker Pentecost. Sounds like a job you do in a church. Rinko Kikuchi is Mako Mori. And one of my favorite young funny guys, Charlie Day, plays Dr. Newton Geisler. Bern Gorman plays his...
sidekick?
Yes, rival scientist Gottlieb. Yeah. And the incomparable Ron Perlman shows up as Hannibal Chow.
Yeah.
A dealer in alien body parts.
Yeah. It's a black market.
And we're not quite sure what these organs are used for, food or...
I think aphrodisiacs.
Yeah, various products can be made from these aliens.
Yeah, it's amazing what people will eat just to get a hard on.
Well, there you go. Yes, when oysters just won't do it.
No, yes, get your...
Alien on the half shell.
That's right.
So I really liked it. I didn't know what the heck to expect. The ads on TV seemed to be coming from about 4 different directions, and I thought it was going to be another very mediocre Transformer movies, but all they took was the giant robots from that. Mm-hmm. But they borrowed from a lot of other movies. They borrowed from Cloverfield, which borrowed from Godzilla. Go all the way back to Joe Haldeman's movie Robot Jocks.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Jocks spelled J-O-X.
Yeah.
I doubt that was his original title. But that's about humans basically doing rock'em sock'em boxing in gigantic robot bodies. Even The Simpsons has done that. So it's not a new idea, but I really thought that they brought a lot of style and humor and fun to this movie.
And I think
it's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride. It's based on a really simple story. These animals start appearing in the middle of the Pacific. There's a vortex of sorts.
Yes, it's an interdimensional rift.
The first one that comes out is huge, and all the military of the Pacific Rim are basically battling this thing for 6 months or something like that before they kill it.
Yeah, and that's just a level 1.
Yeah, and they figured this was a one-time occurrence, right?
Like Godzilla.
They
were popping up now and then, but they kept getting bigger and bigger until when this movie starts, when we join the story, the big menace is level 4s. But by the end of the movie, a level 5 has
shows
made
up.
Appearance. I have to say that considering how tough the level 4s are, level 5 didn't seem that difficult to beat. Shouldn't it have been like exponentially harder than the 4? Like they shouldn't have stood a chance against a 5.
Well, whoever is sending or manufacturing these beasts on the other side of the vortex...
On another planet.
Well, they might have thought bigger is better.
Yeah.
And maybe there is a point of diminishing returns where bigger isn't so necessarily better, but they send it through anyway just to see what it's going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, the battle scenes are humongous. I mean, it's like you have
well done.
The 3D on this movie was great. I mean, it really gave you a sense of how huge these battles are.
So a better use for 3D than most of the 3D movies we see.
Yeah, they really took care with how they did it.
Right.
And I enjoyed it for its 3D.
Right.
For one of the few movies that actually you would say gets better on 3D.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I say. Most movies that I see in 3D are not improved.
No.
Including Star Trek, the last Star Trek movie.
Not necessarily, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary. And
No.
when I think of those scenes, I don't think, oh, the cool special effect.
No.
I just think, mediocre Star Trek movie.
Well, I still disagree with you on that one. It is a fun movie. If you're looking for something really complex, really sophisticated, a lot of twists here and there, you ain't going to get it from this movie.
No, it's a straight action movie.
And that's what's the thing I liked about it. It is a straight action movie. It doesn't pretend to be anything else.
No, it doesn't think it's any smarter than it is.
Yeah, World War Z, I found... It started off as an action movie and stopped.
Right, okay, well, enough about that. We'll be talking about that one next week, folks. But back to Pacific Rim. Yeah, a couple of really good actors in it. I really like Idris Elba. He sort of came to fame in the U.S., at least, with The Wire. He was one of the mastermind drug dealers. And then he did a short stint as Michael's boss on The Office. This is the first time, I believe, I've heard him talking in his normal English accent.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Because he's invariably putting on an American one. And Charlie Day, as I mentioned. Charlie Day is one of the 3 young men, the 5 main characters on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is a show I only discovered about 6 months ago when they started showing them in syndication here. And I have to say that's my favorite sitcom now, if you want to call it a sitcom, because it's insanity. I just love those guys, and they're all so horrible.
The unique thing about the robots in this movie is the fact that you have to have 2 people running it. And they have to merge their brains. Their right and left brains have to merge in order to be able to run this huge monster of a robot.
Right.
And when they do that, they experience one's thoughts.
Yeah, you're in the other person's mind.
Yeah, so you see glimpses of their lives, intimate moments.
Well, you get it all. You get everything that's in their life. This is why Charlie's character, the scientist, he risks his own mind to use this machine to mind meld with a chunk of alien brain.
Right.
And he's able to get a glimpse of their home world. And he can see the humanoid aliens who are designing these creatures and pushing them through to attack us. That's what they basically want, is our planet.
Yeah, they want the resources. They're basically here for all of our stuff.
Isn't that always the way?
Yeah.
Luckily, we're using up a lot of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going, pretty soon there won't be anything here to take.
I suppose a vastly superior alien race would be able to come down here and go, hey, look at all the purified metal. Thanks, human beings. And they just sweep their giant magnet over the surface and pick up all the cars and factory equipment and all the rest of it.
It's all what recycling's about.
That's right. Yeah, I don't think they'll be worried about aluminum.
But do you think that maybe it'll be the water they'll be after?
Well, that's always a big one, isn't it?
Yeah. Because I thought in Oblivion that was kind of the obvious thing, that they were just siphoning off all the water.
Yeah, there's been plenty of sci-fi stories about that. Yeah,
there are some parallels between Oblivion and this movie. The aliens are doing exactly the same thing. They want to get rid of the population and take the not resources.
Yeah, but that's just standard alien.
That's the way they think. That's the way they think.
Yeah, that's just what happened in Independence Day. They're here for our resources.
And they're making another one of those, I believe.
Oh, what a big surprise.
Yeah, so Will Smith's going to be in it again.
So let's see, Ron Perlman plays a thoroughly dislikable character, and I suspect his part was cut because...
Or cut down.
Charlie goes to try and get from Ron Perlman's character a larger chunk of the main alien brain, which falls apart very quickly. You have to get it absolutely fresh.
And I believe there's 2 brains. They had a secondary brain.
Because they're so big, they're dinosaurs. Yeah. And in fact, don't they say that these things were sent here hundreds of millions of years ago, and these were the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
They tried it once.
They came to the Earth. They decided that it wasn't viable.
Yeah, the atmosphere wasn't right.
Yeah, the atmosphere had too much oxygen in it.
They sent all the big dinosaurs through.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Didn't need to have that in the story, but it's interesting.
There's a lot of little things that you learn along the way that are humorous and interesting, but nothing that is earth-shattering,
so to speak.
But it is earth-shattering.
There's lots of little character stuff between the pilots of these giant battling robots.
Yeah, it's your typical I'm number one.
Yeah, and they're usually, like, the movie begins with our main character Riley and his brother Yancey. They're in a fighting machine and they're battling a creature, and the creature manages to rip a big chunk out of their particular robot, including the brother, Yancey Beckett, and our hero feels his brother die.
Right.
Essentially, because it's still plugged in.
Which, sends him off in a depression.
Yeah, he quits. He quits the force, but 4 years later, they're desperate, and Idris Elba's character calls him back.
This is our last chance.
Yeah, this is it, and we need your
expertise.
Support. Yeah. So he gets paired. He doesn't actually have a partner, and he keeps pushing for this Japanese woman. Character's name is Mako, and he keeps pushing for her, but she was rescued by Idris when she was a child, so he's sort of her guardian parent.
And he's protecting her.
He's protective of her, and yet at the same time, she's done all the training and everything. So, there isn't anything else she can do except be one of these co-pilots.
Right.
So her and the kid, Raleigh, wind up being paired in that machine. And
the first time they pair, it doesn't go well.
It doesn't go well. She freaks out. Yeah, she can't get past the
Now,
interface.
You would think that they would have some sort of training environment.
Yeah.
So that, you're not
actually done that, but not with live weapons.
Yeah.
Now, suddenly, she's freaking out, and she's starting to accidentally arm, the weapons that will destroy the entire human control force.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah.
Plus, one thing which I thought was a bit of a cheat, as much as I enjoyed the show, every time the giant human-run robots run into a problem, they can fly for just a moment, and get themselves out of the situation. So they, just like the Transformers,
some new ability shows up.
We'll add that in too.
Well, yeah, there was one other section that I thought was kind of cheesy in that suddenly this sword shows up out of nowhere, this giant sword.
Yeah.
And it seems to do a real good job.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, why didn't you pull that out at the beginning of the fight?
Just start hacking and slashing.
Yeah. It's why wait till now? Because it's not funny.
Yeah. When the robot holds up one of its fists and they turn a rocket on in the elbow so that it can punch forward faster. What they've done is, it's mostly CGI, of course, but when they have used models, they've slowed it down so that it looks more ponderous.
Oh, yeah.
And yet, at the same time, they didn't lose the illusion of speed. You still get the idea that these things are absolutely, mountain-sized, but the fighting is just so big. It looks slow, but it isn't.
And they're always fighting in knee-deep Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, evidently the Pacific isn't more than about 30 feet deep. But they do have to travel down to the deepest part of the Pacific.
At some point,
to try to attack the aliens directly through the rift. Don't want to give that away too much, but that's revealed fairly early on that is the plan. That's what the humans need to do. They have to take the battle to the aliens because they've pretty much run out of fighting machines.
Yeah.
They're down to, I think, their last 4.
Yeah. And some of them are old models. 180 million they spent on this.
A big chunk of that was on promotion. You have to take into account that when they say 180 million was spent on the movie, maybe 100 million was spent on the movie and 80 on promotion of it.
Wow.
Yeah, they will spend close to 50% on promotion.
Really?
Yeah, because they got to kill that opening weekend, which they did. Pacific Rim is still getting crowds, I believe.
Yeah, it's well worth seeing if you haven't seen it. It's a fun movie.
Big screen 3D.
Yeah, fun movie.
Now, the next movie is one that Mark saw, but I have not. The Wolverine. However, I have been hearing good things about it. It's directed by James Mangold, written by Mark Baumbach and Scott Frank. Stars Hugh Jackman as Wolverine Logan, Tao Okamoto as Mariko, Rila Fukushima as Yukio, and let's see, we got Famke Janssen shows up in cameo as Jean Grey.
Well, it's not more than a cameo.
It is more, eh?
Yeah.
And last one I might want to mention, just because it isn't a Japanese name, Svetlana Kodchenkova, who plays Viper. So, tell us a bit about this movie, Mark.
Wolverine has a whole bunch of different little mini-series about him in the comic world. There have been a lot of mini-series done when he went to Japan.
Oh, I had no idea he'd been to Japan.
Yes.
Holiday?
Basically rediscovering himself, learning how to fight,
right.
Like a ninja and all that stuff. And he meets a girl called Mariko, and they fall in love, and she's the daughter of a boss king, the Yakuza or something in there.
Right.
And there's a whole bunch of politics happening all over the place, and he's sort of in between trying
This is the movie you're talking about.
Is part of this movie. This is the whole realm of the comics, as well as this movie is based in that reality.
Okay.
So this is right after he's killed the Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey.
Jean Grey's character, what she turned into in the third.
And he's
following the third X-Men movie.
That's right.
And ignoring the previous Wolverine movie.
Some of the things in there do come into play, because in the X-Men they touch upon they don't know what his age is. And in the first Wolverine movie they explain that he was born somewhere before the Civil War, a long, long time ago. Yeah. And he is ageless. With this one, you're apparent that he doesn't age as well, because it opens up, he is feeling all this guilt and having these nightmares about killing Jean Grey, and he's gone up to the Yukon to...
Again, he likes it up north.
Yeah. And
the Canadian boy.
Yeah.
Wolverine.
But the Canadians he meet aren't very nice.
Right.
They're always in the bars, and they're always picking on him, or they're doing something bad that he gets pissed off.
Pick on a guy who looks like that.
I don't know.
Without the knives. I mean,
he was actually staying in the wilderness, and he's walking along, and they have this really great CGI grizzly. That's it. He's just walking along, and all of a sudden there's this grizzly standing there, and they start walking along together, and they kind of keeping, their distance, respecting one another's abilities and things like that. Anyway, turns out these Yahoo boys go out into the wilderness and with their bows
and kill grizzlies,
and they shoot this grizzly. Right. He's off in the distance, and all of a sudden he hears all this yelling and screaming, and he goes and he sees this camp, and it's all shredded to bits, and then he follows the tracks and finds the bear with this arrow in it, and of course he does the humane thing, kills the bear, but not in the head where you think you want to do the death.
Heart.
Not even in the heart. It was like in his upper chest, and I'm going, that's cruel. One right up the...
Yeah, well, you severed the lungs, the lung-heart connection,
but it screamed in agony, so I'm going, it wasn't the nice, painless death that it could have been. And he goes into town, and he tracks down the guy with the bow. Suddenly, out of the blue, this big helicopter lands this Japanese woman, and she's come to ask Wolverine to come to Tokyo to say goodbye to an old friend that's dying.
Okay.
Now, this old friend, in flashbacks, we find out that he's at Nagasaki, right when the bombs dropped, and there's a great scene of the bomb falling and him saving this one guy, and it's this one guy.
Wolverine saved this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is why this guy now says, I can take away the curse of immortality from you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a debt he's going to repay.
Right.
He's going to repay his life being saved by giving Wolverine death.
Yes, because he's in a miserable life.
Yeah.
He's really... But what he also says is, I'm going to take your immortality.
Oh, okay. So he's going to...
So there's a whole thing about them trying to steal his power.
Right.
And I'm not going to give too much away. They do take some of his power away so that when he gets injured in this movie, he gets injured and it lasts a while.
Right.
It's not healing the way it used to.
No.
So he is hurting, and he's got all these wounds that have to be bandaged up and everything like that.
Plus, if you were used to healing immediately, you wouldn't be used to being careful.
Well, exactly.
Banging your head on doorways, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, it takes him literally seconds to heal from a knife wound.
Oh, in the first X-Men movie, he takes a bullet to the skull and drops dead, but after a few moments, the bullet spits itself out.
Yeah, they do something similar in this movie where he takes a bullet and he supposedly dies.
Right.
And there's all sorts of characters from the comic. The Silver Samurai, which is built of adamantium.
Oh, okay.
The same stuff that he's... Right. So he has to battle that person. Then there's Viper, who is working for the clan to get his powers. Right. She's the one that actually helps him lose part of his powers, and he doesn't know how, but he discovers later on.
Right.
So it's him coming to terms with his guilt over Jean Grey. She's in his head. Right. So every time he's knocked out or something, she's there having a conversation. Right. And by the end of the movie, he's resolved his issues with that, and therefore he decides it's worth living, and therefore he wants to get his healing factor back. Right. And he finds out how to do it, and ta-da, that's how it goes on from then.
The Wolverine 2.
Or the next one. And there is a little prequel to the next X-Men movie.
Always at the end.
Yeah, little snippets.
Those Marvel movies, they make you sit through an interminable,
Actually, they're doing it better now. They'll do, a minute of it, and then they'll show you that, and then they'll do the rest of the credits.
Yeah, okay.
They don't make you wait till the very end.
It's obnoxious. A lot of people were missing that. So where's Stan Lee in this one? Did you spot him?
No, actually.
Oh, he's got to be in there somewhere, the old ham bone.
That's a good question. Yeah, I did not notice him in that.
Right.
That's the first time I haven't noticed. I don't know if
sometimes he's more obvious. Sometimes he's really obvious.
Well, yeah.
In the first Spider-Man, standing on the street, pointing and screaming.
Yeah. Well, in that last Spider-Man, the remake, he was a librarian of some sort with headphones on in the school, and they come in and they smash through the walls, and he's just taking this book off to catalog or something.
Yeah.
But no, I mean...
So, you haven't gone into any of the action. Is there action in this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Is it all just fighting with Japanese?
A lot of it is, because there's a lot of Japanese over in Japan.
Yeah. I know, that's the problem with Japan.
There's a great bullet train scene.
Oh, okay.
And they showed it on Daily Show.
Right.
They showed the whole scene most of the scene on it, and it was the most exciting scene in the whole movie.
Oh, well, see, now that's bad. If they can show one scene and you walk away going, holy heck, they showed the best stuff, then that leads me to believe there's not a lot of good stuff in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of good fighting and action scenes and things like that, and there are some giant things that he's fighting. And
Mothra? Is Mothra in it?
No. Oh. But Godzilla was, no. But the Silver Samurai was the big guy to fight, and even that he defeated very quickly.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a couple twists at the end. But that bullet train scene, I mean, it was wonderful. I mean, they're on top of the bullet train, and I don't know how fast that goes, about
180.
Is that 180?
Yeah.
I think they were saying 300.
Yeah, well, it can, yeah.
Now, he's a mutant, and he has these claws, and his skeleton is all adamantium.
Yeah.
And he's fighting this Yakuza or ninja guy, and he doesn't have any of that ability. All he's got is this sword and maybe a dagger.
Yeah.
And he's able to stay on that train.
Ninjas are tough.
I would have thought just the wind alone would have blown him off the train, really.
Okay, so since I haven't seen it, how would you say it stacks up to Pacific Rim?
I was kind of impressed with it. I mean, I wasn't...
How would you compare it to Pacific Rim? Give me an example.
Well, I like Pacific Rim better, but I'm comparing it to the first Wolverine movie and other X-Men movie, and it's a decent X-Men movie. It's a little more serious.
Right.
Because he's dealing with serious matters of the heart and mind.
Right. I heard somebody on TV, some comedian, who said that the most amazing thing about the Wolverine movie is that after seeing the last two X-Men movies, I'm still willing to give it a third try. Because I didn't think much of the Wolverine movie myself, and I thought the X-Men First Class was a clunker.
Right. This one is slightly better than the First Class.
Oh, jeez.
It's better.
That's not saying much.
Well, I liked First Class.
Yeah, okay.
That's the thing that surprised me, because I wasn't expecting as much as I got when I went to see this. I was entertained. Yeah. And I thought that Hugh Jackman might be getting old for the role.
Right.
But he looks good. He looks good.
Schwarzenegger can pull off playing the Terminator
one more time?
20 years after he played it the first time.
He's coming out with another one, right?
He wouldn't be the Terminator.
Well, he's in it.
Oh, sure, he might be in it. But the last movie, the one with the cyborg, the half-human, half-robot, Schwarzenegger's character was entirely CGI.
Yeah, and they might do that again, but he might also play some other character that...
It would be really depressing to see Arnold now with his shirt off and his big flabby butt. And...
Well, he just came out with a movie, one of those commando kind of movies.
Yeah. It's him and Bruce Willis and all those other guys, the Expendables.
But no, one that starred him. Bruce...
Oh, well, we know he's an old working gal. Okay, now, let's get on to Sharknado.
Now, this is the first time you came up with this movie. I didn't come up with anything.
This was all over the news.
Really?
All over the interwebs, all over the comedy shows a month ago when this first appeared on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's not unique by any means. It's the same crappy CGI technology that they've used for every Crocosaurus movie.
Shark movies are really big things.
Yeah.
Because they have Shark Month now.
Yeah.
Where they show all these shark movies.
Well, they show shark documentaries.
No.
Oh, well, they're matching then the Animal Planet Shark Week.
Yeah.
Because that's the original shark thing, where they show a lot of documentaries. The other night I caught 15 minutes of Two-Headed Shark. and it's exactly the same people, Sci-Fi Channel, all the same crappy production that we expect from sci-fi movies. This Two-Headed Shark, I just couldn't see the advantage.
I've seen that movie.
To having two heads.
Yeah. And the fact that,
a big one-headed shark is a far more efficient killing machine than a two-headed shark. The only advantage of the two-headed shark is that while you're being eaten, you'd be able to have a conversation with the other person being eaten.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Oh, no.
You're both winding up in the single stomach.
I remember that movie. I mean, it was like the advantage of the two-headed shark was that it could eat two people at the same time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. While you're being eaten, you can have a conversation with the person next to you being eaten by the other head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you both wind up
in
the single stomach.
Just the physical reality of a two-headed shark. I mean, it wouldn't have the swimming...
No.
You wouldn't be able to go through the water very well.
It would have died when it was young, I think. Yeah. Because the two heads would be constantly battling.
Yeah.
At what point did it learn to cooperate with itself? It wouldn't. Sharks are not
reasonable
creatures.
Yeah, they're not very reasonable.
No. You get one head biting the other head.
Yes, but we're not talking about that movie. We're talking about Sharknado.
They're pretty much the same thing.
Sharknado?
So Sharknado is basically gigantic tornadoes, hurricanes, in fact, out on the water.
On the Pacific.
And which are less likely by the west coast of North America. But these movies have got nothing to do with science or reality.
No, of course not.
So they're whipping around above the ocean and they're vacuuming up tens of thousands of sharks.
Only sharks.
And then, only sharks. Yeah, no flying
whales or anything else.
And then they're dumping, like raining these gigantic...
sharks,
man-eating sharks
into swimming pools.
Land.
Yes, swimming pools and into
the best scene is one that I saw before I watched this movie. It's so bad. But the one scene which made everybody laugh, and I can't remember the show it was on. It might have been Colbert or the Daily Show. But a guy with a chainsaw is standing in like a parking lot, and here comes this absolutely gigantic shark, and mouth first, coming straight down at him. He quickly gets the chainsaw going. He's entirely swallowed, but the next thing you know, he's slashing his way out of the belly of the shark, and the shark is, for some strange reason, just holding perfectly still while this man is cutting its belly open from the inside. The shark doesn't move or anything like that. Excuse me, they didn't even have the wherewithal to like jiggle the fake wall of shark while this guy is cutting his way out.
There were so many stupid scenes in this movie.
This movie was only slightly more entertaining than Chupacabra versus the Alamo.
Yeah.
Which we talked about not too long ago. All the same things, all the same crappy CGI. If you see a group shot of these creatures, you can see that they're duplicated here and there. They've only got about 6 different kinds, and they multiply them and spread them.
Yeah, cut and paste all over.
And it is just that bad, cutting and pasting.
But the whole things that they did, I mean, it's like at one point this school bus is surrounded by sharks, and they have to lower themselves to the school bus from an overpass above the school bus. Right. This whole scene was just so stupid.
Stupid? Really?
And it was one dumb scene after another.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, you're shaking your head. I mean, I don't mind these movies if they make fun of themselves and it has a nice plot to it. Mm-hmm. You know, even if it's a silly plot. But when they do stupid things that make no sense at all.
No.
That's the part that, you know, like I'm going, you know, you could have taken your time to just write a half-decent script.
They could have, but they didn't.
I mean, it's like they make it up on the spur of the moment. And then, let's shoot this scene now, and then 6 months later, let's shoot another scene over here. And I found that the lighting was so bad between the shots. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's sunny one time, it's great at another angle, it's raining another angle. It's like, it was just ridiculous.
So we should also mention that well-known party girl Tara Reid stars as April Wexler in this movie. The occasionally good actor, like he's a good actor who's occasionally in good things. John Hurd is in this, but the star of the movie is played by Ian Ziering, and his name is Finn Shepard. Ooh, there's a good name for a shark wrangler. Finn Shepard. All right, well, I think we've devoted enough time to this, and I swear, Mark, as Jupiter is my witness, I shall not watch another sci-fi movie for a long, long time.
Oh, come on now. I'm going to suck you into one.
I know. Now, I see that logo.
I've downloaded a whole bunch of shark movies I haven't watched yet.
Well, don't save yourself. Save yourself, man. All right, let's go from the ridiculous to the very peculiar. A little movie that I found by luck called Jugface.
How did you find this movie?
Just looking around online, and the name struck me. At first, I was confused. I thought of Jughead, the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, where he plays a soldier in Iraq.
Right.
But no, this has absolutely nothing to do with Jughead. Jugface refers specifically to these small pottery jugs that have a local person's face on them. And now, this whole movie is just very, very peculiar. You'd think you were looking at the hillbillies from Deliverance, except that these people live in our world.
Yeah.
They have phones, they have TVs, they have cars, they have everything that we take for granted.
Except for they're isolated.
They're somewhat isolated, and they isolate themselves from the town so that the small town people think that they're a bunch of oddballs, like religious cult nuts or something, and they act like a cult. Because these people worship a pit in the ground with a bit of seepage at the bottom. They worship this
it's kind of weird.
There's a monster, like a ghost demon monster that lives in this pit, and they sacrifice members of their community to the pit every now and then.
Let's get it straight. There's something in the village.
Yeah.
There is a person that is designated as this potter.
Yes.
You know, he makes pots.
Yes.
That is determined, and I can't remember how it's determined, but it is selected, I think, by the entity in the pit.
Yeah. It tells the potter, who is in this movie, he's played by Sean Bridgers.
He actually goes into a trance.
Well,
he goes into a trance.
He seems like he might be just a tad mentally deficient.
But he's an okay guy.
Yeah, he's a nice fellow.
Yeah.
But he may not be as nice as we think, because he makes a jug face at one point.
But he gets desperate
in order to get rid of somebody that is a rival for the girl he likes.
Yes, this is true.
So he's not that good a guy. Nobody in the village is really good.
He goes into a trance, And he creates this pot.
Yeah.
And it has the face of this woman that's
the next victim.
The next person that's supposed to be sacrificed.
Yes. And it's the young girl played by Lauren Ashley Carter. She plays Ada. She's our main character.
And Ada happens to be a good friend of this Potter guy, and she's always visiting him. And she comes to his place and sees the pot in the kiln. She takes it out of the kiln before he is even aware that he made it, because he goes into this trance and he has no idea. Yeah. And she sees it. It's her face. She takes the pot and hides it.
I don't know why she doesn't smash it.
I don't know either, but she doesn't destroy it.
Yeah.
And
she hides it, and
because of this, the entity gets very upset and decides he's going to take retribution on somebody.
Lots of retribution.
Now, the entity isn't just evil. The entity also takes care of the community.
Yes.
If somebody is sick, they stand in the pit and it will heal them.
Bathe in the little dirty
mud water at the bottom. So
but when it's pissed off, it doesn't heal you, it sucks you down to hell.
Yeah, now, see, they don't know what has happened. The rest of the community can't figure out why the entity is so upset. Because the jug guy doesn't know he made the jug.
No.
And the only person that does is the person that took it.
Is Ada.
And it is Ada. So the entity is mad and starting to kill people.
Now, and
everyone's trying to figure out why.
There's also a reason that Ada has been chosen. Because she's pregnant. And she's pregnant, and this is why I use the word hillbilly, because it's such a cliche. She's pregnant by her brother. By her full-blood brother.
Right. And she is also of age that she's being given to another man.
Yes, this hideous fat bastard.
Now Sean Young plays her mother.
Yeah, Sean Young, the absolutely gorgeous replicant from Blade Runner. The one who didn't know she was a replicant.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Young, and she, I have to say, she's now, 50-some-odd years old, and she's big and fat and mean-looking.
Now, they're supposed to look like that.
Course,
so it could be makeup. A lot of that could be makeup.
Oh, yeah, or total lack of makeup. Oh, yeah, no, they've made her look horrible. But I did not recognize her.
I recognized her because I recognized her name in the credits. And therefore, as soon as I spotted her, I recognized her.
No, I didn't recognize her until near the end when she had a moment where, there she is.
So Ada's been arranged for this marriage, but she's supposed to be a virgin.
Oh, yeah, that's also very big.
Yes, very big. So, the family's going, Ada, you haven't been fooling around, have you? No, Mom, I haven't been. But she's been fooling around with her brother.
Yeah.
And she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So she's faking her period. So Ada's doing all these bad things for the community, and the community is basically being tortured by this entity, and they don't know why.
Right.
So that's basically what this whole movie is about.
And then for half the movie, for the second half of the movie, it's the town trying to, like her father, who's a leader, trying to figure out what's wrong with the pit.
And how to appease it.
How to appease it, and then, finally things have to be done.
What we can say is it's a very low-budget film.
But it's so peculiar and so entertaining.
And it's well
the best
done.
Movie I've seen in a long time.
It's very well done for a really low-budget movie, and entertaining.
Budget to me, it doesn't even enter into it, because it got everything done that it needed to get done. I did not at any point feel that it was
inferior.
Yeah, it didn't look low budget because it never does anything where more money would have made that better.
Yeah,
it's perfectly fine. So I would not refer to this as a low budget movie. I'd just say it's a really well done movie.
Small movie.
Yeah, it's a little movie. Larry Fessenden plays the father, Sustin. Sean Young plays Loris, the mum. Daniel Monk plays Jesseby, who is the sulky, incestuous brother. Really, really recommend this one. I thought it was the best movie I've seen in like the last month and a half. Well, let's see. I think we got time for at least one more. Let's talk about Aftershock. This is a 2012 movie. Every movie we've talked about so far has been 2013. This is a 2012 movie, directed by Nicholas Lopez, written by Lopez, Guillermo Almeida, and Eli Roth, who's very big in like the Hostel movies. And he also played one of the Jewish American Nazi hunters in Inglourious Bastards.
Excellent.
Yeah. So he's one of those young guys who's got a lot of friends in Hollywood right now. So Eli Roth is one of the stars, but there is no single main star. It's a group of international traveling young people.
Right.
And they've met up in Peru.
Yep.
And they're in, Cuzco or wherever.
And they're from all walks of life.
Yeah, they're just kids.
And one of the kids has a really powerful dad that is filthy rich.
Yeah.
And he's kind of...
Pollo.
Yeah, he's the one that's entertaining all the kids, saying, I know where all the best parties are.
Yeah.
I know where all the best
But he's also mostly full of crap.
Yeah.
But it's Pollo and his brother, and... Let's see, who else? Let's see. So we have Eli Roth plays Gringo, Andrea Osvart plays Monica, Ariel Levy plays Ariel, Natasha Yarovenko plays the Russian girl, Irina, Nicholas Martinez plays Pollo, Lorenza Izzo plays Kylie, and of all people, Selena Gomez has a small role as a VIP girl, whatever the hell that means. Maybe a real upper-class hooker.
Right.
But she doesn't have any time at all for Eli Roth's character when he talks to her in the bar.
Right.
But, of course, that's the bar where the fun really starts.
Now, yeah, these people are looking for entertainment, and
they're in a mountainous city in Peru.
Yeah.
And the first thing that happens is an earthquake. A huge earthquake. It brings the club down. The club collapsing is worse than the scene in the original Carrie, where people are being chopped in half and crushed and bursting into flames. It's more bloody mayhem. One of our group, poor young guy, Pollo's brother, is just trying to help this one girl, and something collapses as he's trying to help her, and his hand gets chopped off.
Yeah.
So their little group is really crippled right from the start, because he's dying, he's bleeding to death.
And they're trying to get him to a hospital. They get outside, and what do they discover? the earthquake, right next to the nightclub. There's like the maximum security penitentiary for like all of South America, with all the worst criminals, the criminally insane in it, and the walls have tumbled down, and now the criminals are mixing with the population and doing terrible.
Some of the loonies have stolen like cop uniforms, so the kids think they're being looked after. But in fact, the cop is just a maniac who's just... There's a gang after them.
Yeah. And all they want to do is murder and kill these poor kids. And the fact that they can't...
Everything is dangerous.
I think it's interesting how, they have this tram that goes up the side.
Funicular, it's called.
And it seems to be the only way up this hill. Yeah. There's no other places in that whole city where you can traverse.
They couldn't hike it, not with a guy whose arm has been cut off.
Anyway,
but they managed to appeal to the rather gross operator of this funicular. Funicular is a kind of a train, actually, that can climb through cogs.
It's a sideways tram, kind of on the ground.
It's a vertical train, is what it is. It goes up rather than straight. Now, they managed to get their friend in there
after bartering.
Yeah, after a lot of wordplay, they get their friend on, and then they all stand at the bottom and watch as it fails
halfway
totally
up
and comes crashing back down,
and everybody dies.
Rather spectacular.
So he's very upset that his brother died.
Yes, Pollo gets to watch his brother mangled and crushed.
So the rest of the movie is basically each one of them getting picked off one at a time.
They try to stay together as a group because they know that they're not dead.
And they meet a few people along the way.
I know, see? Every single person they meet is a bad guy. That's the thing. There is no good for these people beyond having
their last drink in that nightclub. Once the earthquake hits, it's just, what can we do to make their lives even worse? I think this would have been a really fun script to do the outline for. It's like, okay, we start with an earthquake. Criminals. Oh yeah, okay. Criminally insane release.
Why not some sort of animals running around?
There's a tidal wave.
Yeah, that tidal wave does come.
It does come. Yeah, I mean, it's just one thing after the other. Horrible vehicle accidents. They're traveling in a fire truck.
Oh yeah, and gangs.
And the gangs.
Yeah,
and they're already upset. The gang is upset with them because they were lipped off at the club before the earthquake even happened.
Yeah.
They're not even a gang, really. They're just
pissed off.
Punk toughs, with guns and rape in mind and stuff. So, and the raping is not just for the women.
No.
Oh, everybody gets raped. Now, I liked it. It's really stupid. I enjoyed this movie because it's just like what can they do next? I want to see what next they can do to these people.
It is a thriller. It's a bloody thriller with mayhem and chaos going on all over the place. And I don't know how realistic it would be. Because is this what happens when there's a big catastrophe out in Malaysia somewhere with a monsoon?
Do people suddenly start attacking each other for flesh?
Yeah. and the hell with all the death and carnage all around, and nobody has any sympathy for anybody.
What can we do to make it worse?
Yeah, and the fact that, even the people that they're begging to let them hide in...
That's right, yes. There's
they
some
won't
people so it's a little block of people, and they've got an iron gate at their little alley to the court of their building, and they've got it locked, and they won't let the kids in. And other people in the court are saying, no, for God's sakes, let them in. We're not animals.
Yeah.
But no, they've got a gun, and somebody willing to use it. So it is just more tragedy.
Even though these people aren't evil.
No.
They just aren't willing to budge.
They're rather overprotective.
Yeah.
No, and I wouldn't even say overprotective, because they understand that you can't trust anybody, that the criminals are going to be wearing uniforms and so on. So that one woman is correct. You can't open the door. You have to just hang tight.
Right.
But, and the kids don't realize how cagey these criminals are, so they have no idea, and they wind up, falling in with one of these guys who says he's got a uniform on, and they just trust him implicitly.
Yeah. This show takes you all over the place. You go through graveyards, you go through monasteries, you go through crypts, and every one of them has their problems.
Yeah, just I would say, if you're a kid, don't go traveling.
Just don't go to Peru.
Stay in your basement.
Well, that's what happens when you go to clubs.
Yes. Don't hang out with beautiful girls, because they will cause trouble.
And, that is sinful. I mean, it's just drugs and alcohol and sex.
Fun.
All those three things are going to cause the demons to come out.
That's right.
The Lord caused that earthquake just because of that.
Yeah. Certainly the Republicans would believe that. All right, well, my voice is about shot, so we're going to wrap this episode up. Hope you folks have enjoyed it. We really appreciate the notes, emails, and so on that we get. Hey, Carl, how you doing?
I'm fine.
And that's about it. So we'll be back with another episode next week. We'll be talking about World War Z, After Earth, American Mary, and Under the Dome. We're going to talk a bit about the
series
TV based on the Stephen King novel, which I hear is now going to go into at least a second season next year.
We can talk about it next week, but I find it interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a slight